Halloween Ends is probably the most disappointing movie of the year. Does that mean it's bad? No. Does that mean it's trash? No. It's not either one of those. It is just very disappointing. I will get into the positives first. And this review is going to be a spoiler free review as much as I can. I'm going to do the best I can to not spoil anything, and then later I'll probably drop a spoiler review. But for the positives, this movie tried to do something very different. I'm not going to say what, but something that none of the other Halloween movies have done. And as much as I didn't care for it, I appreciate it that they try to take a different direction, and so the movie didn't get stale. It was fresh, seeing what they were trying to do. They hadn't done it before, and I appreciate it for that. The music was pretty good. John Carpenter came back and did the original score, and this has another kind of it has the original Halloween music, but there's a bit of a mix in there, but still really well done. And it's a beautiful movie to look at. And when Michael Myers is in this, I really like the actor that plays him. I forget his name, but he does a really good job, and I really wish he was in this more. And that's not really why I didn't like the movie. I have a lot of complaints, but that's really what I liked about the movie. To get onto the things I didn't like, I'm not going to talk about it too long, but it was just really, really, really frustrating. Really good setup, terrible execution to say the least. They try to do a lot here. All I wanted was to have Laurie Strode and Michael Myers go at it one more time, and if either one of them die, then so be it. This has gone on for long enough. But you don't really get either. Like, the whole Laurie Strode and Michael Myers thing is an afterthought in this movie for some fucking reason. I don't know why. It's like the side story in a movie. And the rest of the movie is dedicated to someone else that really doesn't matter, because the person, I can't say this without spoiling it, so click off if you haven't seen the movie. I'll give you a couple of seconds, but they try to do something here where Laurie and Michael aren't the main focus, someone else is. And at the beginning, it's kind of cool, and the actor who plays this particular person does a really good job. And then later on, it literally amounts to nothing at all. If they could have capitalized on that, then I would have gave them the benefit of the doubt. But they took away literally 75% of the movie from Laurie and Michael to have this other story that just doesn't, by the end, it doesn't work. The setup was there, everything was there. They did the build up really good, and then at the end it just fucking falls on its face. That's all I gotta say. It was really frustrating to watch, knowing that this is the end of this trilogy, and you're not gonna have an epic Laurie and Michael movie like the first Halloween movie. Like, bro, I know I don't make movies. I said this a million times. But how fucking hard can it be to make a movie about two people and all it is about killing? I don't know how they fell so flat. They experimented with a lot of stuff in this movie, which again, I really appreciate, but this isn't the movie to do it. They should have done it in Halloween Kills. They should have introduced all these side characters and blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, they did it in the final movie. Think of Endgame, but without the big battle. You have character development for, I don't know, a character that hasn't been in any of the other movies, and that character dies at the end, and then the big climactic battle that happens in Endgame is just an afterthought. That's literally how Halloween Ends feels. They amped this movie. I did a good job to stay away from the trailers, but what I did see, they were promising us it's going to be Laurie and Michael's movie, and they just get sidelined so hard, or it's a bit like disgraceful. Like, how can you not capitalize on this? It's not that hard. Another big complaint I have is this movie has no Halloween vibe to it whatsoever. It's very by the books. You have a couple of trick-or-treaters at the beginning of the movie and the old school Halloween music. But other than that, this movie has no vibe to it whatsoever. No Halloween charm to it. Like, even the old Halloween movies, or some of them are garbage, yes. But at least they had that Halloween atmosphere to it. This movie just felt like they were in Haddonfield, and there's a couple of decorations. It didn't feel rushed, but I really felt like what they were trying to do with this other character, Michael Myers, it felt like it literally could have been its own fucking movie. And I would have rathered that than them cramming in to this movie. Because this did not feel like an ending to a trilogy. It didn't feel satisfying. And another spoiler alert, heads up, Michael Myers is barely in this movie. And that could be a good thing, because you need build-up. But when I say he's barely in the movie, I mean he's barely in the movie. He has one kill, and that's literally 70% way through the movie. And then he's in the tunnel, which you barely get to see. And then he's at the end of the movie, which you barely get to see because the fight is so rushed. Everything is so rushed to get to this other plot point that you kind of do care about a little bit because the actor did such a good job, but it's so deceiving because you think that, okay, all this build up, we're going to have a crazy finale, and it just falls flat. And I was expecting some miscontinuities with the movie, but all I wanted was just to have Michael and Laurie meet up a couple more times, have Michael in the movie more. And that's about it. And they didn't even do that. What's a Halloween movie without Michael Myers, man? It's not boring, but it's not interesting. I can say that. If it wasn't for the acting, like, holy fuck, I would have left. That's how frustrating this movie was. And at the time I watched it, I wasn't frustrated while watching it. I gave the movie the benefit of the doubt. But, like, the more I'm sitting and just thinking about it, it's not sitting with me good. This is definitely going to go down as one of the worst Halloween movies in my opinion. Like I said, really good ideas. It could have fit somewhere else if they wanted to make like a Halloween show or something like that. But I don't know why they had to experiment and make all these new ideas when all everyone wants to see is the end of the trilogy, and it feels like they're starting a new one. That's all I gotta say. Another spoiler alert, Michael Myers dies, and it doesn't feel satisfying whatsoever. It felt very disposable. It felt like they could have just done this in any other movie. There was no thought process behind it, nothing. It just felt very tacked on and kind of rushed by the end. I don't know what was going through these producers and directors' heads when they made this, but like I said, all we wanted was the two of them going against each other, have good build-up at the beginning, and then end it off. But for some reason, we have to have other plot lines in here that are entertaining to watch. They were good. They weren't bad. But it was very unnecessary because It took away from the whole feeling of the final battle. I literally felt like I was watching a different movie. And then I was like, oh, Jamie Lee Curtis is in this. And then she shows up like 40 minutes later. Like, it's just so much. They try to do so much. And they really should have done this in Halloween Kills, the movie before this. And then just left this movie for Michael and Laurie. And that's what they marketed it as. It's like they knew what movie it should have been, but instead they did something else. I don't understand why. I thought if they just did Laurie and Michael, this could have been one of the greatest Halloween movies ever. And I don't want to be rude, but you guys kind of fucked it up. I'm sorry. That's just my take on it. That's really all I have to say. If you want to look at my spoiler review, I'm going to post one later today or tonight. Very disappointing. Not a bad movie. I appreciate the direction they took. I appreciate they're trying to take risks. But this was not the movie to do it. You should have done it some other place. Not when everything needs to come to an end. That's all I gotta say, really. Thank you, everyone, for watching the review. And if you've seen the movie, let me know in the comments what you think. Are you disappointed as me? Oh, sorry. Are you disappointed as me? Or did you like it? If you liked it, I'm happy you did. There's aspects of the movie that I really did enjoy that I thought were really cool. But at the end of the day, it was very unnecessary and it could have done without it. That's basically about it. So yeah, check her out if you haven't.